Hello everybody, today we're taking a sneak peek look at the Piper Warrior 2 by Just Flight. Let's do it! Hello and welcome back to the channel everybody, and today, yes, it's the Piper Warrior 2 by Just Flight. We're going to take a bit of a pre-release look at this aircraft, and while I'm thinking about it, if you have the Piper Arrow or the Piper Arrow Turbo, you're going to get a discount if you pick up this particular aircraft. Also, if you've got either the P3D or FSX versions of this aircraft, there's also a discount to be had. I just want to get that out of the road while I think about it. I'll put a link to the product down in the description. It's going to be released very soon, so go and check that out and pick it up if it's an aircraft that you think you like the look of. So today is going to be a bit of a quick look around this aircraft inside and out. Just some of the main features that give you a bit of a feel for what you can expect. But as you can see here, we're sort of putting along up the... this is actually the east coast of Australia. We're in Queensland, just above the Gold Coast in the distance there. And I'm in an Australian livery here, and I'm editing in right now the different liveries that are available for this aircraft. And as always, there's a ton of different options there for you to choose from. But as we look at the external livery right here, not the livery, the textures I should say, with the livery also looks really great. I love the look of this one. Looks like an Australian Air Force theme one, to be fair. Didn't do my research, maybe should have. But anyway, as you can see, a really nicely detailed aircraft from the outside. You know, of course, the Piper Warrior, it's a fixed pitch prop aircraft, also fixed landing gear there, so not retractable at all. You can actually turn those fairings on and off, the wheel fairings by the way. At the end of this video I'll do a quick little clip to show you some of the static elements that you can expect when you're on the ground. So we'll jump through that very, very quickly at the end of the video. But let's jump inside, take a look around the cockpit. And here we are. It looks like a mine approaching us here or something. But as you jump inside here, a very familiar looking Piper aircraft cockpit, very similar to the Piper Arrow. I was going to say, get it out, Mace. But if we look over here, let's start on the right hand side before we take a look at the interior, which is actually really beautifully modelled in my opinion. But for those of you that do have some of the other aircraft, you will notice this electronic, or recognise the electronic flight bag here, which allows you to do a bunch of different things within the aircraft, inside and out actually. One thing you can do is actually enable the yokes, the visibility of the yokes, which I just did there. You might have seen it appear below. You can also change the GPS. I've got the GNS 530. You can get the GPS 100 version right here, or you can go for the dual option right there if you want to. I'll stick to the GNS 530. You've got your radio stack right here. This switch turns your electronic flight bag on and off. You do actually get failures in this aircraft, so spark plug fouling, all that sort of stuff that you would expect in real life on this aircraft. And I'd just like to point out that actual pilots of the Piper Warrior have helped in the development. They're also using the proper sounds that have been recorded from the Piper Warrior, and I tell you what, I really love the engine sound on this thing. When I took off earlier, it sounded absolutely brilliant. Handled really nicely on the ground too, by the way. I'm not going to go into too much depth around that stuff. Join me at my live stream this weekend, and I'm going to really put this aircraft through its paces, so come and join me then. If you're watching this video in the future, go back and watch the replay of that live stream and you'll catch all the action. But if you have a look in here, like I say, pretty well detailed, but also a pretty familiar looking aircraft from a Piper point of view. If we just scroll right down here, obviously you've just got the mixture right there and your throttle. Because it's fixed pitch there, no need for the third lever. We've also got the good old carb heat. I've got the mixture right there. Carb heat, so obviously very important with these types of aircraft to avoid the old carburetor icing, because that will block up your fuel access, and next thing you know, your engine will stop, and that's not good, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So if we pan across here into the different part of the cockpit, the next thing that really caught my eye is the autopilot system right here. It's pretty straightforward and basic. At the moment I have got the heading knob on, and also the main autopilot switch. You can actually do the approach, reverse, all that stuff. This little button right here I've got enabled too. That's your altitude hold. So I've got it set at the very reasonable 1600 feet. I do not know where I came up with that. but you can go ahead and enable that. So if you want to really do what I do, which is jump outside the cockpit and have a look around, you can have that autopilot enabled and the aircraft will fly itself. So that's really good from a comfort point of view. You've got your squelch knobs and your volume headset volume knobs right there, your pedals very well detailed. The good old fuel selector. You can actually use your electronic flight bag and tell it, as I have right there, to switch it over automatically throughout the flight, the left and the right tanks, or you can leave it on manual and do it yourself. Just got to be careful to balance out those tabs. Once again, you've got your parking brake right there and your flat lever, which looks like a handbrake from a Morris 1000 back in the 70s. A couple other things here. You've got your avionics switch right here. You've got your fan you can turn on and off. Heaps of things within this cockpit are really interactable, if that is a word. This little panel here, switch panel, is very similar to the Piper Arrow with your battery old. You've got your fuel pump, landing light. I shouldn't have my fuel pump on right now. Let's turn that off. Your anti-collision lights and your pitot heat right there also. You've got your transponder unit right in the middle there for you. Also your little circuit breakers, which do pop out from time to time, so you've got to watch those. All these pieces inside here, your latches on your doors, etc., are interactive. You can go ahead and open those up. Not in flight, I wouldn't recommend unless you're looking to jump out. And you've got your visor that you can pull down and up. So really quite a lot of similar features to the Piper Arrow in that respect, but also with its own little charm and idiosyncrasies because of the type of the aircraft that you are flying right here. One thing that I've noticed coming into this aircraft right here is the detail on the paneling. Look at this, looking very worn right here. So this has obviously done a lot of hours. And even things like right down to the screw heads here. So make sure you bring a Phillips screwdriver if you're looking to take off that paneling right there. You can go ahead and open up the window. And there we go, you get some of the sounds coming in through there, which is really cool. Looking around the internals right here, 4 seats in the cockpit. So probably a nice little money maker for early on in your career for some of those career add-ons that you might get into. But a very nicely detailed interior right here. Once again, you got your cabinet, which you can pull on and off right there, which is pretty cool. And a bit of storage space at the back there. And I'll show you once we get on the ground how that baggage door can open up and you can pile some baggage and cargo in the back there. So it's actually got quite a bit of space for a small aircraft right here, as you can see. So what I noticed is in terms of handling, and as I mentioned earlier, they have had real-world Piper Warrior pilots give feedback around the handling, and I found it really responsive on the ground. It took off and it flies as you would expect an aircraft like this. For those of you that maybe have flown a lot of the 152, the Cessna 152, it's got sort of similar V-speeds to that and similar type handling, so you can expect a kind of similar experience without being exactly the same. The big difference being this has got the low wing as opposed to the high fixed wing that you get in the Cessna 152. The GPS fully operational right there, as I mentioned earlier, so you can go ahead and throw in your flight plans and be assured that you can get from point A to point B depending on what you're looking to do. It's got the all the navigational aids here on the console right here, and including what an IRLS approach. I'll get there in the end, everybody. So you can go ahead and fly instrument via your instruments if that's something you enjoy doing. If you're like me and just like cruising around in autopilot and enjoying the great scenery, you can do that also. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, there goes the inside of the cockpit right here. Like I say on the live stream, I will be giving you a more in-depth look at this. Okay, to finish things off, we'll take a look at some of the static elements you can get with the aircraft. Here we are on the ground. We've got the passenger's side door open right here, the co-pilot's door. You can open both sides. Also got the baggage compartment back there. You can open that up. We've got our tie downs. And also the tow bar right here. You can also actually have the option of having wheel fairings on or off depending on your preference. You can turn all these options on or off using the electronic flight bag, which is that tablet in the cockpit. So nice little features right there, which you come to expect with the Just Flight aircraft. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Just Flight, a Piper Warrior, coming out very, very soon. And another big shout out to Just Flight for letting me take a look around the aircraft. As I said earlier, this weekend I'll be putting the aircraft through its paces on my live stream. So come and check that out. Obviously, if you're watching this later on, you can watch a replay of that stream. But thank you very much for watching. Link down in the description for this aircraft. Go and check it out. And until next time, everybody, take it easy.